Now we're really live this time. Hey Mike, hey Kyle. All right. Yeah, indeed we are going to. Who needs football when we have some bottled water and the next war? Okay. Now, critical stage in this game. I've been away from this, I think, for 3 weeks now, so hopefully we'll get most of it right. I've done a quick little appraisal of the rules, make sure that we play correctly so we don't screw things up too badly. And here's what's going to happen. Critical stage, like I said, it's the beginning of the third turn, and we have to do the air phase first. Weather rolled up clear because it's June or whatever the case may be, so you've got to roll a 5 for the weather to change and becoming clement in some way, shape, or another. And the key for the game potentially is the US and NATO need air superiority in the central air sector, which is this one. And and we need this because we've got to get the reforger units in. We have air units that need to be brought in for the US. My understanding or reading of the rules is that European air can be, reinforcements can be brought in sans air superiority, as can most of the ground units there as well. So there's various rules that kind of reflect what can be brought in and what can't. And it's very specifically, we got to have air superiority for the reforger. The reforger stuff is in the central region air sector, and if it's not, then I'm a moron and we'll just pretend that's where it is, because I know that the US forces know that, NATO, the Soviet forces know that they're trying to keep the reinforcements out, so it's a critical stage. Okay, so here we go. We've done the first round, and the first round was actually surprisingly conclusive for the US F4s that took on MiG-21s from MiG-21s here, just to smack the crap out of them, but did lose a step in the process, which was kind of nasty. And I've now just rolled up this particular attack, and I might zoom in here a little bit for you. I think that'll work. How's that? I'll just check these quick comments. Hey, Patrick, how you doing, man? Nice to chat there. Up to you earlier on. Okay, so we rolled up this guy, and here's an interesting result. This is a 1A1, 1-1. What does that mean? Well, that means that the East Germans have to lose a step, abort, and take a damage. And I am not following this little handy-dandy chart here that provides us with the damage, how to manage damage and step losses and stuff like that, because there's not enough damage counters in the game. So I've created my own method. So I'm going to flip this dude for a step loss. We're going to pop him. I just put the guys back anywhere for the time being, because pretty much they can get back to where they need to be, and no one's terribly focused at the moment on damaging airfields or attacking airfields. No one really has the bandwidth to do much of that at the moment. So those units go back. I've got to take a damage. Oh no, it's a 1-1. So I've got to take a step loss and a damage. And for this guy, I'm going to grab this damage marker here. I'm going to put a damage marker underneath him because he has a step loss and a damage. What happens with damage units later on, my understanding is, if I decided to put this damage marker on this unit here, he could continue to fly. Actually, that's a good point. I may need to keep him. So what we're going to do is put a damage marker on this. I'm going to put this guy, damage on top of this guy, and at the beginning of the next turn, he's going to flip over and be able to continue to fly. But if he has a damage and a step loss, then he's not going to be able to fly, basically. That's how that works. All right, but these guys are kept in the air, so we finished one round of combat there. We go through one round of combat with all the available groups. There are 7 or 8 groups here that need to be resolved, and we're going to resolve all of those bad boys right now. Sound is gone. Hopefully it'll come back. Well, we may just be lagging. Okay, so now we're going to resolve this next combat. Now this is an interesting one for the US because they've got a pretty significant advantage with these F-15s. There's very few F-15 units and we are going to protect them. So we take the first combat factor, there's a 10.42, and the first one is the air superiority rating, so that's a 10 there. Let's see if we can zoom in here. So you can see the 10 there. And you'll see the F-15 has an 18 for its air superiority rating, which is the highest in the game. Okay, so I've got 30. I count them all up. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So boom, I got 10 here. But here I've got 16 and 18. So I've got 20, 16 and 18. I've got 28, 34, which is going to be 3.4, and it's going to round down. So that's, sorry, 3.4, 3.4 times. So it's going to be 10 basically. We're going to round this down to 10. Is that right? 16, 26, yeah, 34, which is going to be 10.4. Okay, so this is going to be a 0. Wow, that's really not good. Okay, it's not good for the Americans. Even with this 18, it's we're kind of screwing ourselves here. So that was unfortunate placement. You don't get to choose where these guys go. You kind of line them up. There's a separate chart for these guys, and you just line the groups up. And you pop them in for the first round. If there was a second round of combat and there were still groups having to fight here, then you're allowed to rearrange the groups. Both sides can do that. And I'm sorry for the messy cameras. I'm just going to make a little note here. This is going to be a 0-0 combat. And we need to roll a die. And we're going to get to add 1 or subtract 1 from the die roll for the US because they have better pilots. So I'm going to roll a d6. And I rolled a 5, so that's bad for the Soviets. And here's what we're going to do. I'll actually show you the table. So I'll try and hold it still here. Now there's modified tables, updated and modified tables that are a little more common sense or nonsensical than the originals. And we're 3 aircraft fighting 3 aircraft, so we're on the 0 table. And then we have a 0 difference in ratings. And we rolled a 4. Did I say a 4? I rolled a 5. 5, which is going to do a 1A1 1-0. I'm going to push that up 1, and I'm always want to add 1. I never really want to subtract 1 on the die roll. You may, as the Soviets, want to subtract 1 on the die roll, but as the NATO force, and you're more than likely the force that's going to get the pilot skill modifier, you're going to get this up to a 6, which is good. So it's a 1A1-0-1, which is just a damage. Okay, so that's good. So they abort. So that's another sector that's been picked up by the erstwhile chappies, Yanks. Right, so another damage marker. So I've just got this monstrous pile of damaged units over here. I'll just zoom out. I'll show you. That's the sum of the damaged units. All of those units there are either on their full strength side or they've lost a step and they're damaged. And I just put that guy over there. There he is. He's damaged. So he can fly next turn, and we're going to turn him over when and he's going to fly like that. Okay. Now the other 2 guys, we lose a step. He's just going to go back to base, and this guy goes back to a base somewhere. We'll put them down. And these guys take the damage. So, see, I'm out of damage markers. I'm going to have to start robbing from Peter to pay Paul here. All right, so these guys are going to go into the slot. Put them there. Well, they're cleaning house at the moment, and they're probably going to win. Well, who knows? They may win this one as well. This is going to be exactly the same, in fact. So we don't even need to do anything. All we can do is roll a die and add 1 to it. Oh, and it's a 6, so there's no point in rolling a die for nothing. We know what that result is, so that's another loss for the Soviets. Those F4s are kicking some ass, so I'm just going to make a note here. F-15s wipe the, what are they, 21s? Yeah, the 21s. Okay. And I said it damaged, didn't I? So I'm just going to stick this guy over here for now. We know he's in there. Where did the 3 dudes go that I just killed? Is this them? This is them. So another damaged unit. He's over there. And a loss. And we'll put him over here. Okay. Now, we're going to do a little bit of math here. For some reason, I have 4 units here. So that would be wrong. Well, shit. Okay, well, I'm going to take this East German guy out. All right. Oh, wow. So we got 16 there. So that's going to be a 5. And here I've got 28. It's going to be a 9. So a 9 versus a 5 is a plus 4. Both sides have 3 aircraft, so it's going to be on the 0 table. And let me just check something real quick here. Yeah, okay. Yep, and so now we just need to roll the die, and we've got the... Now, because I have poles in here, that's also... Well, you guys are going crazy with the comments here. I'll get to you in a second. I didn't realize we had 10 or 15 people here. So right now, we're going to have a pilot rating differential of 2. Oh no, shit, because I've got these guys, they're a 1. So you use the worst rating for each. Okay, so it's going to be a 1 difference as well. That's a pity. If I had had all Americans there, we would have got a +2. And this time we roll a 1 for the Soviets, so it's about time they got lucky. It's going to be modified up to a 2. It is on the 0 table, but it's on the +4. Yeah, that's just not going to be good. Even the, hang on. 9 minus 5 is 4. So that means this is not a particularly nice result for them because it's a 2. So we go across on the 2. Let me just see. So it would be in here a 1-1, a 1A1, and this one would be, that's the Warsaw Pact result. That looks like it's a worse result. Okay, well, that's just unfortunate. Okay, so that's probably fine, actually, because it means we'll get to do a second round of combat. So I said a 1A1, didn't I? So I'm going to have to abort and lose a guy. So we'll take a 4 loss, and we'll take a damage on, I'm going to stick a damage in under here for now. And I've got these 2 guys aborts. I'm going to put them carefully. And these guys take a what? A 1-1. So they take, I'm just going to kill this guy off. And we need a damage. I need another damage marker. I can't believe I'm out of damage markers. There's got to be something wrong here. All right, I guess we'll consolidate these stacks then. I'll put this stack over here with these guys, and I'll take this damage marker and put it on top of that guy. And we're almost finished the first round of combat here, so I'll do a quick check-in on comments. Hopefully you're all just having a great time talking amongst yourself. Hey, Kent, Devon, blah-de-blah. Yeah, the air war is much better in... whatchamacallit, Third World War. Full bore coefficients. Okay, I hear. All right. I know what you're talking about in terms of rules. We'll talk about that as we go through this cycle here. So we're working out air superiority. And once we do that, that's going to impact what happens at the interception and the ground support level. And there's a level of detail to this game and in the ratings and the way the ratings work out that I guess are thoughtfully applied. It can be easy for the Soviets to pick up air superiority, but it's very difficult for them to win the interception level. And that causes problems because that then means that if the interception level is won by the Allies or by NATO, they can then go forth and really screw up the ground support that's planned for the turn. And I think that's trying to pull out the weapons platform capabilities of the different aircraft. There are also there are a lot of different ratings for the same aircraft for different countries, and even within the same country, you'll see different ratings for these units depending on whether they're a fighter, or filling the role as a fighter, filling the role as an escort, or filling the role as a fighter bomber, as the case may be, and that's all factored into this game. So it adds a little juice here. It doesn't take long to do if I would stop talking. So now we have 20 here divided by 3. So that's going to be it's going to be 6. I'm going to make a note of that so I don't forget while I chit chat. That's a 6 on the right hand side, and here I've got 30. That's going to be 10. So that's going to be another +4. Beat down with these mirages when these mirages come screaming in here. You can see them right there. Stop it and focus, you piece of... There we go. Okay, so let's roll the die. And this time we are going to have a 1 and a 1, so I think it's going to be no pilot... God bless it. No pilot error, no pilot advantage. So that's a 1 we rolled. Where are we? We're on the 0. We're on the 0 table, and we're playing in the +4 column. So the Soviets just give us an ass smack, and they take 1 damage, and we abort out with damage. What a surprise! The French run away. Sorry, Frenchies, had to say it. All right, I'm gonna stick this damage dude underneath here. Some of the counters are not the counters are not uniformly sized in this game. Just FYI. And that guy aborts, so let me stick him over there. Oh, and this guy goes too. And you're dead. So it's secure there. This guy goes somewhere there. I've got new charts for the next war airfields. They're all color-coded by country, which is very, very helpful. Okay, so the Soviets have won 2 out of 6. Last one, this is a beatdown here. It's a 5 versus a 9. So we're on the +4, but this time we're going to resolve the combat. My wife is calling me for something. Hang on 1 second. So this time it's going to be 3 NATO versus 1. So it's going to be a positive. We're going to be in this rating in here, and it's on the 4 table. So 4. I got to roll a die. I guess that would help if I roll the die first. And we're going to get a +1 on these guys for the die roll. So that becomes a 5. So this guy's going to die probably. So positive table, which is good for the NATO, I believe. Positive table, yes, because these are worse. Yes, okay, so here we go. So I said a 4 and it becomes a 5. So no losses and a 1A1. So this dude aborts, takes a step loss, and he's basically dead. And these guys go in. That's the end of the first round. Now, here's what happens that's a little bit different from other games. You finish an entire round across this sector, and now each side has the choice to decide if they're going to try and drop units down into the interception level. Now, obviously, correspondingly here, these guys could drop down to the interception level over on the other track, but they're actually going to stay here because they want to try and win the battle. I am, however, I'm going to push through this 1 stack here, and I'm going to just drop them down. I think I've got to Actually, if I'm smart, I do this I think you do it 1 for 1 to start. You just drop it down like this. I'm going to try and take these guys out, the rest of them out. So we're putting these down here like this. And this guy is going to stay. And now each side gets to reorient where they want to be. What boxes they want to line up against. I know these guys have only got 2. Excuse me. So, 2. So they're going to be in 1 or 2. Just depends on which 1 or 2 they're going to be in. So I'm going to allocate these first and then just not worry about it, right? So we're going to do that. And keep in mind that the top unit is the only unit that's playing in this little stack here. I know you can't see it right now, but I'll move it. And then this stack is going to go here. And then these guys only have 2. Now, you know what I could do? I could drop these down as well. I'll have to think about that. That might be smart to do that. All right, I think I will actually. I'll drop them down here. Here. They get to choose where they go, I think, because there's nothing to match up against. I'm not sure what the actual mechanic is to choosing where you drop down to. I think what you would do is pop them down with your other intercept units, which is actually probably what happens. I'll probably put them back over on the stack over there, and they're going to match off for the next turn. That's what happens. So I've got, for the next phase. You with me? Does that make sense? Sorry if it doesn't. It's the best I can do. Okay, quick comment check. Point out the real quick notation, which Mikhail's colors. Okay. East German, French, US, Soviet, Polish, Czech, Soviet naval, West German naval are dark green, and various shades of green and tan are Belgian, Norwegian, etc. So I think that covers everybody. There's Hungarian dudes here as well. I think these guys are Hungarian. Yeah, there's Hungarian guys. I don't know if you can see that or not. And I just flipped a dude. All right, there we go. Okay, now, bugger. Here we go. Let's do this. So now it's the second round. No one else can drop down to the interception levels on either side. They all have to stay in the superiority track now. We're done goofing around. How this is supposed to work is that I grab the opposing side's track and I sit it down next to it, and these 2 arrows point into each other. There's arrows on each side and they point into each other. I decided for the efficiency of space not to do that. All right. 6 and 5 is 11. Now these guys are facing this way. This guy has 2 damage, actually. And this guy has 1 damage already. I turned them facing away and down because they already had a damage before they started. None of these guys are damaged. And it's not going to affect combat at the moment. They're still up. So I've got these chappies here. That guy is damaged there. All right. What did I say? 9? 11. That's 5.5. So it becomes a 5. And here I have 12. I have 16. I have 20. 20 divided by 3 is going to be 6. So we've got a 6 for NATO and did I say 5? A 5 there. And we're going to be on there's 3 units fighting 2 units. 3 fighting 2. I'm just making a note here for my AAR. 3, so 3 minus 2 is going to be positive 1. And we're going to get the pilot benefit as well. So this could be a bit of a beat down. So here we go. Plus table. And it's positive 1 or 2. 1 to 2, I said, right? I said 2. Yeah, 6 minus 5, it's 1. So it's 1 to 5 here. It fits in here. I'm going to roll a die. Let's do that. I roll a 5. That's not going to be good for the Soviets. So there's your 5. Plus 2 is a 7, so it's a 6. So we're here 1A2, nothing for the good guys. So 2 damages and a step. So these guys, I think there's multiple damages kill. So 2 damages kills a step. So that will knock out both of those guys. These guys now own the skies. It looks like the Reforger forces will come in if all goes well here. I think we got 20 here. Yeah, so that's going to be a 6. And these dudes have 18. That's 26 there. 26, 34. Okay, that's going to give us 10. That's going to be a positive 4. And we're going to pick up the pilot rating of plus 2. And there's 3 units, so it's going to be on the 0 column. It's all pretty straightforward. It's one set of tables. It's not a big deal. I roll a 4 this time. Plus 2 is 6. That's not going to be good. We're on this 0 table because both sides have 3. And I said it was a 2 delta, I think, on the difference. Yeah, so we're over here. I'm going to roll a 4. Plus 2 is 6. 1A1, 0, 0. So these guys are bought, and that's the end of that. So, wow. Oh, I'm going to kill a guy, take a damage, and he goes back to base. And these guys go in. Going in. All right. Now, that's the superiority phase. Let's see. Where's the central sector here? And now I'm going to grab all of the units for, these guys get dropped down. I'm going to move these because we have other units. You'll see, 1 second. These come in here. These come in here, and some of these have damage already. So we're going to be very careful how we place them. I'm going to move all these dudes back over to their own track. I'm just going to take them back to a base, and these guys are all damaged. I'm going to stick them in there somewhere, off at a base, and we're going to put these boys here. Okay, 1. That guy was damaged, and he is not damaged. Okay. Shoot. Come on. Now these are flipped over. They haven't lost a step. They're just flipped over. It's a little, my mechanism is a little convoluted, but I'm hoping it works out. All right, now I can bring in these forces here. I'm going to put one here. Help me. And this guy goes this way. And then I've got an extra track, an extra guy here, and an extra guy here. Now, I think what I can do is make an attack with the guys that are excess. It's been a while, let's see. One controls level. At the conclusion of the combat, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. I'm looking for the drop downs. I'm wondering if it's only when I drop down. Oh, air groups on the interception level can change their boxes, but the composition of the air group may not change. Once an air group moves down to the intercept level, it can never. Okay, all right. So I can choose where stuff goes. Well, let's do that. So I'm going to do this. Even just despite the fact there's only 2 guys, I'm gonna swap these dudes out and put them in here. And I'm gonna stick these guys in for these guys. Here. And I'm going to turn this around the right way. Yeah, and these guys will stay here. All right, so that's what's going to happen there. You with me? Okay, now we're using the middle number now. 6, 2, and 4. So there's 6 and 6 is 12, right? So that is just going to make that a 4. So now we're on the intercept level. I got a 4 there. These guys are bringing 21 to the table, but it's 21 divided by 2. Okay, so that's going to make that 11. Now, unfortunately, though, that's going to put us on the minus table because there's only 2 aircraft. So it's going to be 11 minus 4 is going to be 7. So I'm going to grab the table. I'm going to look at the 8 to 6 column, but I'm on the and I'm going to be on the negative because I have 2 aircraft fighting 3 aircraft. So it's going to be minus 1. We subtract NATO minus Soviet, but I'm over here. Sorry, I'm over here on this 6 to 8. So here we go. And I roll a 5, and because both these guys get the +2, this guy gets +1, it's a net +1, so it's going to make it a 6. It's a 1A2, 0, 0. So these guys abort, lose a step, and take 2 damage. So I'll put both those guys to damaged. In that big pile over there. In fact, I'll just kill one of those guys. And then this dude will stay whole. And we take no losses and we crank through here. Now, these Czech aircraft have 3, 6, 10. And here I have 12. 10 is going to be 3. And 12 is going to be 4. That's going to be a +1. They're going to get the multiple die roller modifier. So that's going to be a 3. +2 is 5. And we're on the 0 table. Both sides are on the 0 table because they both have 3 aircraft. And it's +1. And I rolled what? 3 +2 is 5. Yeah, 1A1 and a damage. Okay. So these guys are bought and they're out. And they take 1A1 and a damage. So lose a step, we'll lose that guy. Take a damage, and we'll stick him over in the damage pile. And we'll let him work it out later over there. These chaps are bought. And we come in with no damage to here. And we go through this exercise again and again, right? So 6, 12, 18, they're going to have a 6. And these dudes here are going to have 8. What do we got here? 15, 23. 23 is going to be a 7. So we're going to just squeak by there with a +1 and a +1 on the die roll. I'm going to roll the die. Roll a 3, +1 is 4. We're on the 0 column. +1 or 4 is 1A1 and 1 step loss for the US. So we lose a step. I think these guys are definitely not all the same. So that dude is the... Oh, look at that ground combat. Let's keep him safe. So we'll flip this dude. He takes a step loss. And what did I say? 1A1 for these guys? Dang. Is that right? I think I said 1A1. 4. Yeah. No. Yeah. Wait a second. A 4. Yeah, 1. Okay, 1 damage. Sometimes you got to check one step, and these guys are all brand new units. I just got them this last turn. All right, he goes into the damage pile. These two go. Here's an odd-sized unit. He goes there. These guys go in. This has been surprisingly easy for the US. I did not experience this last turn. CBC Climber, you're funny. Yeah, he does get it. The Prince of Liechtenstein gets a unit, a battalion or something. 0 combat factor. And a morale or quality rating of D. It's a 0 D1. Right, this is 3. These guys are just going to die. I mean, do we even need to bother rolling? Let's roll the die. If it's a 1, we'll look at it. It's a 2. Okay, so we'll look at it. So it's going to be a 4 net. But it's going to be on the positive table. And they have 3, and these guys are 9. That's a 6 difference. And I rolled a net 4. Yeah, 1A1. So he's got to lose a step and take a damage. He'd already lost a step, so he's dead. I hope it's not 3 steps to kill a unit. That would mean I really fucked up. Okay. These guys, this is the first round. These guys all drop in. The Americans control the interception level in the central air sector. What they now can do is drop in like just absolute bitches, drop in and just crush the ground strike effort that is going to happen here. And I believe these guys can abort if they want to. And we're using the intercept values again to resolve the combats. And these guys have horrible ratings. I'm going to abort these guys because look, this is a big bomber. These those Tupolovs, I think they are the Tu-16s. They're a big 20 factor ground strike. I can tell you right off the bat, they're aborting. So they're going back to base. They're done. They ain't playing that game. These guys go back to a base somewhere. These guys will get chewed to crap. They're aborting. And I don't believe I get to take a shot at them. They can just abort. See, look at the difference in the size of some of these units. Where is it? It's pretty funny. 78. These guys are screwed. They're aborting. I don't even know why I bothered putting them on the board. And these guys are out as well. In fact, I think I'm just going to bail. The Soviets are just going to bail out of this exercise. This is not going to be fun. We're putting all these guys back to base. We're not going to play that game. I'll end up losing everything. So they all abort. And I'm just going to check real quick. I should check before I move them, but I'm going to check now. Yada, yada, yada. From more friendly air groups, oh yeah, they get an extra attack. But we get to abort. Yeah, there's only 1 round of combat. Please tell me I can abort. The ground support unit. Ugh. Player who controls the interception level, attacks the ground support units, yes. There's only 1 round of combat, and there's no damage taken by the interceptor unit. If there are more, then they do the thing. Yeah, friendly air units allocated to ground support may abort prior to air combat with enemy interception level groups. Okay, in which case they return to their bases, yada, yada, yada. And then we just move on to attack the next highest level. Everyone aborted, so we're good. These guys don't. I don't believe they get to hang around in ground support, which would be really awesome if they did, but they don't. I think they're done. I'm going to leave that as it is, and I'm probably going to, unless you guys want me to keep going, I'm probably going to stop there because I want to finish off. I've got the northern air sector to do over here. I need to wrap that up, and then I can move into the actual game turn. And we're going to do nukes this turn as well. So maybe I'll tune back in when we get to some nuclear activity. So here we go. That's a wrap. That's what I think. Thank you for checking in. Stay tuned. I'll be back in about 45 minutes to continue the battle.